India's second wealthiest person, Gautam Adani, wants to buy stake in Paytm. Now, do take this with a grain of salt. This news is not confirmed. In fact, it's kind of the opposite because both Paytm and Adani Group have both denied these rumors. They're saying they're just speculation. But here's the thing. Just a couple of days ago, there were reports that the Adani Group was looking to diversify into the e-commerce and fintech space. And so this report said that they were negotiating with ONDC to start their e-commerce business, and that they were also thinking of applying for a license to get into UPI services. And so it's just a couple of days after this news dropped when this report that Adani Group wanted to buy stake in Paytm first surfaced. Now, considering the fact that Paytm is kind of at rock bottom right now as a company with the whole Paytm Payments Bank debacle, it could be actually very good news for Paytm and also for Adani Group because they'd be getting in at a much lower price than they would have a couple of years earlier. For Paytm, this would give them the funds that they need to support their business and also the backing of India's second richest man, which doesn't hurt at all. And then for Adani, this acquisition would make it so much easier for them to get into the fintech space. Now, Paytm might not be the biggest player in this space anymore, but they definitely have millions of users and a huge fintech ecosystem that Adani could capitalize on to expand their fintech empire. So this could definitely be a win-win for both of these companies. And also, this is not the first time that there have been such reports of Paytm's acquisition or potential acquisition since they started to get in trouble with the RBI for their payments bank. In fact, just a couple of months back, there were also reports that even Mukesh Ambani's Jio Financial Services wanted to buy Paytm's wallets business. Now, just to be clear here, when it comes to publicly traded companies, they're never going to disclose these kinds of things. If a rumor surfaces that some kind of acquisition is happening, they're never going to admit to it. In fact, oftentimes they'll say that this is just baseless speculation, this is just a rumor, and then a couple of weeks or a couple of months later, we find out that the deal has actually gone through and everything went well and it's actually happening, and then nobody really remembers those previous news reports about how the company had made a press release saying that this was all baseless speculation. So with that in mind, do you think that this is baseless speculation, or do you think that this could actually happen and Adani Group might actually acquire stake in Paytm? Leave a comment down below and let me know what you think. All right, next up in the news, but continuing to talk about Paytm here, there's a report from Financial Express which says that Paytm might be looking to reduce their employee costs by 400 to 500 crore rupees. And this would mean that they would end up needing to lay off between 5,000 and 6,300 employees. Now, according to this report, Paytm had already terminated 1,000 employees back in December, but of course, Paytm is not the only tech company that wants to cut down on employees to save costs. In fact, according to INC42's India Startup Layoff Tracker, more than 130 companies have laid off over 37,360 employees since 2022, as these companies leverage AI and technology to cut down on their costs. Now, speaking of cutting costs, I want to take a minute to talk about today's sponsor, Odoo, which is a one-stop platform to manage all of your day-to-day business operations. And in previous videos, we've already talked about Odoo's e-commerce builder and also their invoicing app. So today I want to talk about something new, which is their CRM, their customer relationship management tool. Now, the best part about their CRM tool is that you can integrate it seamlessly with your website and tons of applications like invoicing, sales, and marketing. And then once everything is integrated, you'll get a complete view of all of your leads, accurate forecasts, and sales. All of this information is available to you on a single platform, and you can choose how you want to view this information. So their Kanban view, for example, is pretty cool, showing all of your leads as cards with the main information mentioned there too. And as the customer moves up the sales ladder, you simply have to drag and drop the cards around and your workflow is updated automatically. You can click on any of these cards to get more information about your leads, and on top of that, Odoo CRM allows you to schedule meetings, calls, and send emails all from their centralized platform, making sure that you have all of the information that you need in one place. Oh, and in case you're not already convinced, you can use Odoo CRM without paying a single rupee since their first application is free for life. So, if this is something that you're interested in, and it absolutely should be, it's completely free if this is your first application with Odoo, then you can find a link to their website in the description and also in the pinned comment down below. And thanks so much to Odoo for sponsoring this video. All right, next up in the news, this blurry video that you're seeing right now is history in the making. Agnikul Cosmos has successfully launched their first rocket into space, which is called Sorted, and that's short for Suborbital Technological Demonstrator. Now, Skyroot Aerospace made history last year in 2023 when they launched India's first privately built rocket, but what Agnikul has done here is also really impressive because the engine used in Agnikul's rocket was the first in the world to be entirely 3D printed, which was both designed and built indigenously right here in India. But here's the best part. Agnikul can build this engine from scratch in just 3 days. They can do this again and again and again. This gives Agnikul the ability to get their rockets ready for launch in just 2 weeks, and also at a price that's 6 to 7 times cheaper than conventional rockets. And this is especially huge because most satellites have to wait for months before they can find a rocket to take them into space, giving India an edge in the global satellite launch business now because Agnikul Cosmos can get these rockets up into space so quickly, meaning that they can process, they can carry, and send into space more satellites. Unfortunately, it is probably going to be a couple of years before Agnikul Cosmos and Skyroot Aerospace are actually able to operate commercially, sending tons of satellites up into space, which is their long-term plan. But in the meantime, Indian startup Pixxel, which makes satellites, hyperspectral imaging satellites, and then they sell that data to businesses, well, they're planning on using ISRO and also SpaceX to send their next 6 satellites up into space. They're planning on doing this at some point this year in 2024, and these satellite launches are a part of Pixxel's larger plan of building a constellation of 24 hyperspectral imaging satellites by 2025. And so while Starlink's satellite constellation is aimed at bringing fast internet to remote locations around the world, Pixxel wants to bring high-quality images from space for businesses. All right, next up the news, and coming back down to earth here, BharatPe and PhonePe have finally decided to settle a dispute that they've been in since 2018 over the usage of Pay. So this trademark dispute began when PhonePe issued a legal notice to BharatPe asking them to stop using Pay. And by 2019, PhonePe even filed a lawsuit against BharatPe claiming trademark rights over Pay. So at this point, they've been going back and forth over this issue for more than 5 years. And after spending so much time and money, the two companies have finally decided to just withdraw all trademark oppositions against each other. And Rajneesh Kumar, the former chairman of SBI and the current chairman of the BharatPe board, said, "This is a positive development for the industry. I appreciate the maturity and professionalism shown by the management of both sides, working closely to resolve all outstanding legal issues and moving ahead to focus their energy and resources in building robust digital payment ecosystems." All right, next up in the news, according to a Money Control report, Zomato is planning on resuming their lending business to restaurant partners. So Zomato had actually partnered with NBFCs back in 2021 to help their restaurant partners gain access to capital during the pandemic to manage their expenses. But they decided to pull the plug on this venture as they wanted to own the entire value chain. They didn't just want to be taking a cut from NBFCs while offering loans to their restaurant partners. And so in 2022, Zomato formed Zomato Financial Services and applied for an NBFC license to execute this plan. But it's been a while and they're still waiting for this NBFC license. So instead of just waiting, it looks like Zomato wants to get back into the lending space once again. In fact, earlier this year in February, they hired Akshay Gautam, who was actually working at Indify, which was one of Zomato's lending partners back in the day, to lead their lending program in-house. With close to 250,000 restaurant partners, 2.5 lakh restaurant partners, even getting a small piece of the lending pie here could make a huge difference for their revenue and their profits while they wait for their NBFC license. All right, next up in the news, and speaking of profits, Ritesh Agarwal, the founder of Odoo, took to X to announce that the company has recorded its first ever profitable year for FY24. So Odoo made almost 100 crore rupees in net profits. That's profit after tax. And Ritesh did say that these are just provisional numbers, but he does expect the audited financials to be close to these numbers. And Ritesh expects their growth to continue in FY25, counting on travel trends like premiumization, spiritual travel, business travel, and conferences, as well as destination weddings. And he isn't just counting on India for Odoo's growth either, but also the international market. All right, now let's move into the funding news segment for today's video. So this week, Indian startups raised $166 million, which is quite a bit higher than the nearly $50 million that they raised last week. So now let's take a look at some of the companies that have raised funds this week. First of all, we have Thane-based Infomarket, which is a business that helps companies in the real estate industry procure construction materials, and they raised $50 million in debt. After that, we have New Delhi-based commercial three-wheeler EV maker Euler Motors, and they raised $24 million in their Series C round, making it the biggest equity funding round this week. Then, moving on, we have another Bengaluru-based EV startup, Zip Electric, which supplies electric scooters to e-commerce and delivery companies, and they raised $14 million in their Series C round. Following this, we have Bengaluru-based robotics and automation company De Facto, and they raised $4.8 million in their first ever funding round. And then finally, we have Gurugram-based fintech startup CirclePay, which uses your CIBIL score to check your credit worthiness to help you rent a house without having to pay a security deposit to your landlord, which is huge. That's been a massive problem that I've personally faced, so it's awesome that these guys are doing this, and they raised $1 million in their pre-seed round. All right, that is all the startup news that I have for you guys this week. I really hope that you enjoyed the video. And now, to thank you guys for sticking around until the end, I just wanted to have a little one-on-one because there's something I want to address. And first of all, you might have noticed, if you've been watching our channel for some time, that I kind of stepped away from the camera. I haven't really been in the videos visually since like October, November 2023, and I've just been doing everything with voiceover with this microphone, which has been working well for me. It feels much more relaxing to not have to set up the lights and the camera, and then it's a bit more involved as a presentation to be in front of the camera. And I've kind of been on this like soft paternity leave thing. It's not really, I'm not on leave or anything, but I've just been taking it a little bit easier since my wife and I had our son in October of 2023. And so that's one of the reasons why I took a step back. But now I'm coming back on camera for a specific reason. And by the way, I'm here to stay. I'll be on camera from now on, which is very exciting. But also the reason why we did this was very unexpected. We were getting comments from people who thought that I was an AI, that my voice was AI generated, which I'm not sure if I should take that as a compliment or an insult. I mean, on the one hand, my voice is perfect enough to be an AI, right? That's the one way of looking at it. The other way is that maybe my voice is kind of boring and predictable and artificial sounding. So maybe I need to spice things up and make myself sound more human. I don't know. Leave a comment down below and let me know what you think. But yeah, we were getting so many comments from people, and I just kept replying to people being like, no, I'm real. I'm a real person. This is a person's voice. We're not using AI to do this. But I think the assumption is that because this is a channel about Indian startups and the team who's running this channel must be all Indian people. And so they wanted to give their channel a little bit of, something special, something unique. And so they tried to use sort of an American sounding voice in the videos. And that's just not the case. First of all, I'm not American, but also I live in India, and the rest of the team is Indian, but we're all based here in India, which is why we're making videos about India, because we love this ecosystem and we care about the direction that Indian startups take in the future. So I just wanted to put that out there for all of you who are new subscribers and you just thought that my voice was artificially generated. It's not. It's really just me recording all of these videos with my voice. But anyways, thank you so much for watching this video and for sticking around, hopefully, for future videos if you enjoyed this one. Also, do check out our video that we made about the top 10 startups from Nagaland. That video is performing really, really well, actually. I wasn't sure what to expect. I think it's about to cross 40,000 views at the time of me recording this video, which is awesome for a video about a state in India that is pretty remote and not really talked about very often when it comes to startups. So if you want to watch that video, you can find it in the top right corner of your screen. I'm not sure which side that's going to be on. But anyways, catch you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.